I got to one time at one of the Michigan State basketball camps, they needed a volunteer to do a belly slide, and I was like 8 years old. None of the big dudes would volunteer to do it, so I have technically done hit the floor in front of Magic Johnson. So you're welcome.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. There's a nugget.
Hey everybody, this is Rodney Valinga with the West Ottawa High School Athletic Program, and you're listening to the 29-1 podcast. 29 sports, one team. The show that brings you into the lives of student athletes, coaches, and other faces in the Panther sports community, bringing you the stories you might otherwise never hear. Join myself and Athletic Director Bill Kennedy as we dive in with you to get to know each other a little bit better. There are sports fans and former athletes hidden among us.
Today, we sit down with West Ottawa principal Kristy Jernigan. Kristy is a lifelong Panther and bleeds the black and white, serving the community that helped raise her.
She couldn't be more excited to talk about today's student athletes, the challenges they face, and the wonderful contribution they make in the West Ottawa community.
Kristy Jernigan, coming up next on the 29-1 podcast. Let's get it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the 29-1 podcast. It's nice to have you on board for another round of the show. We are actually on the road today, outside of our normal studio. You'd think we might be downtown at New Holland or somewhere else in town, but we are not. But we are in the administrative offices today.
Principal's office.
Principal's office.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're just sitting here watching the snow fall and trying to stay out of trouble. At least I am. Today's guest has been a part of the West Ottawa culture for the entirety of her life. She was only marginally good at sports during her time here at West Ottawa. Those are her words, not mine. But she really enjoyed being a part of teams and connecting with teammates. You'll find her at many sporting events, cheering on the Panthers, and she truly is a bit of a sports maniac, big sports fan. And it's my privilege to ask, who is it?
Hello, everyone. It's Mrs. Jernigan. Hi, I'm Kristy Jernigan.
Awesome. First female principal in West Ottawa school history, a mom, a wife, daughter, sports fan. She's been a teacher at the high school, elementary school administrator, high school administrator. Unbelievable. And the daughter of one of our one-time athletic directors, a guy that I get to fill his shoes now. I don't know if I can ever fill Gary's shoes, but I'll try. Maybe let's start off right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was it like having a dad run the athletic program at West Ottawa? Like, how old were you when this kind of part of your life was happening?
Yeah, so I've been here for most of my life, not completely all, I suppose. We moved here when I was in 6th grade, so my dad could be the AD, and my sister and I were both athletes. So it was really nice having him be our athletic director because he kind of got to watch us do our sports. And so it was really, really a neat thing. And it started my love for sports, started my love for West Ottawa. And yeah, it was really, really good. So he was AD for about 4 years, I think, and then moved to being an assistant principal here. And I just know that he's the reason why I've wanted to do the things that I have done.
You were able to probably tag around with him a lot. Your dad was an administrator. You were a student.
Yep.
You're an administrator.
Yep.
Your daughters are students.
Yep.
What was it like just for you being, little and tagging around with your dad? Does any fun memories come to mind?
A fun memory. I mean, we were with him all the time when he was at West Ottawa. Fun memory of just being like a kid following a sports dad. He was a varsity basketball coach in the Lansing area when I was in elementary school. Right. And so it's kind of cool. All those guys get to kind of be peripherally involved in Michigan State basketball. And he knew Judd fairly well. So I got to one time at one of the Michigan State basketball camps, they needed a volunteer to do a belly slide. And I was 8 years old. None of the big dudes would volunteer to do it. So I have technically done hit the floor in front of Magic Johnson. So You're welcome.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. There's a nugget.
The unexpected story.
No one asked me to do that anymore because I would break something. So it's
Well,
not.
I mean, yeah.
What school did your dad coach at?
East Lansing.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And then from there, he went a couple other places really quickly, but then came here. Yes. Yeah.
Did having a father in administration as you were a student affect the way that you approach being an administrator with girls
Absolutely.
in the building?
Yes, I think when he was an administrator, and then same thing for my sister. He became her principal, and he's done all the jobs. It was really important to me as a student I knew everyone was watching, and I think my girls feel that maybe way too, right? Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to be a really, really good role model for other students because I didn't want to let my dad down. And I know that my girls probably feel the same way, even though I know they're not perfect. They're going to make mistakes. They would never let me down no matter what. But it was something that was kind of on my mind when I was a student of an administrator. And I think maybe that's probably on their mind too. It also just gives me perspective of grace for all parents. As the principal, like, nobody's perfect. No one's kid is perfect, and my kids aren't perfect, and your kids aren't either. So we can have those tough conversations, and I can have it as a mom, not just...
I feel so much better now about my high school days when you said that. I was like, I just relaxed, my shoulders sunk.
Okay.
That was nice. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You have been a listener of the podcast right from the beginning. So
Yes.
first of all, to people who are listening, we always want to just thank you specifically, and thank you, Kristy, for listening to all the podcasts so far, at least parts of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, when we were on the phone, you said you might not listen to this one. How come?
I hate my voice.
You do. Well, we could fix that. We could change it around.
Oh, let's do it.
Go ahead.
Hello. Oh, I like this one.
So that you can listen, you don't have to worry about it. But that is like not as intimidating as it could be. So maybe we'll try this instead.
Hello, is this it? This is it. This
There
is
we
a principal's voice.
Yeah, you do not want to come here now, people. Homework done. Be on time. So anyways, we can have that kind of fun all day. I think I turned it off. I hope I did.
I think at this point
Oh,
I'll
there.
stick with the original.
We'll stay with the original? All right. So you might listen now. You know, when we talk about this podcast and what we're trying to do with it, I know you and Bill know each other well.
Yes.
Okay. You guys work together and you have a pretty good relationship that way. But when I think of you and me, or you and I'm not sure which one it is, we're like a perfect example of what it's like not to meet people here.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so hard because it's such a big school. How many kids we got? 2,500-ish?
2,200.
All right.
Yeah.
So 2,200.
2,214.
There we go.
There you go.
How many teachers in the high school?
So we have 160 certified staff, 225-ish when you talk about all staff.
So did you, like, is it hard for you? Like, do you ever wish that you could connect more to the wider community because it's just so hard to do? Like, it's hard to talk to everyone, right?
Yeah, it is. And I absolutely, like, it bothers me that there are families that I don't know, that I haven't necessarily ever met before, but it's so big, and we are so big that you do have to rely on your team. You know, you talk about me and Bill being close. We're both members kind of our bigger, like, administrative team. And it's my hope, though, that if I can't know every single family, at least maybe every single family knows one of us so that we can work together kind of as that team. Mm-hmm. My goal is that every student knows who their person is in this school. And so if it can't always be me, it's got to be somebody, right? But it does. I encourage people, come up and talk to me. For sure. I grew up here. This place raised me. I feel incredibly indebted to serving this community. And so I love meeting people and new people and talking to families and getting to know them on a more personal level, and just being part of the community too is really, really important to me.
Yeah, I would say I feel the same way. Even when you boil it down to just athletes, there are a lot of athletes that I'll pass in the hallway and I recognize them from the court, but I'm not going to remember all of their names. It's just too many. But I would encourage parents, if you're out and about at events and you see me around, feel free, come up.
Yep.
Let's have a chat.
Yeah, and I am a parent.
Mm-hmm.
So I just encourage all the parents out there too, like, go up and talk. I'm going to call you Kristy. Go up and talk to Kristy. Go up and talk to Bill. Like, they're more than wanting to get to know you. It's kind of a thing here where we can kind of stay in our own little groups or not talk, but talking to each other is a great thing. And the more people you talk to at West Ottawa, it's so enriching to do it, right?
Yep.
It's so enriching. You are not just an administrator, you're a parent, and you're a parent of students, and you're a parent of athletes. Your daughters, Riley and Corey, are both athletes here. I'm sure you've organized the food at least once.
I have not, but I need to.
All right, it's
But
on
again,
now.
Yeah, I know, and it comes down to kind of like that talking to piece. I think people don't want to. I don't know. I don't know if they want to bother me or what, but I absolutely want to be a team mom, and do the food and the breakfasts and everything. I want to be a part of that culture too. Try to as best as I can be. So
Yeah, because you like to cook too. That's one of your favorite things. One of your detoxes, right?
I do. I love to cook. Like Saturdays when I've got the time, Sundays I will cook big meals and try new things. And yeah.
The tangible relaxation of cooking as opposed to being an administrator at a high school, very different from each other.
Yeah, we were talking about that where my results often, it's the long game, right? I'll see results, positive results on students 4 years from now when they're graduating and walking across the stage. And there is nothing like that. But cooking also, though, like you can get the results right now. And that's fun.
What sports do your girls do here? Maybe talk about them for a couple minutes.
Yeah. So they both play golf and tennis. The cool thing about my daughters is that they are complete opposites of one another, their personalities. And I think that makes them almost closer because there isn't a lot of competition.
Oh, yeah.
But they do play the same sports. And I will say that a couple times out on the golf course this year, I think maybe the younger one, beat the older one. And it's a little bit of
starts to happen.
Maybe just once or twice. And then, it didn't happen very many times because they're both very competitive, but also at the same time, there isn't competition amongst their personalities. It's kind of neat to see.
What are some of your favorite memories of your girls playing sports? Anything stand out?
Oh, tons. One of my favorite was, so golf is weird. I love sports. I love watching sports. I love being there. Golf is sort of a sport where it's hard for parents to watch. And I was like,
get your steps in. That's
you
for
do
sure.
get your steps in, exactly. And so I came to one of their matches, and they were both mortified because I don't think any of the other parents were there at that one.
Mom, seriously?
I know, they're like, oh, leave me alone. And it was just happened to be, it was at Three Fires, and so they were crossing each other, and so I got lucky where I was like in the spot where I could see both of them. One of them,
perfect parenting placement, very important at sporting events.
Yep. So they were just a little embarrassed, and I tried to play it off as, well, I'm here as a mom and the principal, and they were like not buying it. So it was just a fun memory because I kind of like to embarrass them.
And the sports that they've played, they have been introduced to some of the best people as far as coaches that I have on my staff, right? To be able to play golf with Coach Cutter and Coach Hevelin, and then tennis with Pete and his staff. Yeah. Some of the very best that we have. And there's going to be a little change on the girls golf side, but I'm real excited about it. And it's, another teacher here at West Ottawa is going to take it on.
Go ahead and talk about
Reed
that.
Murphy is going
Reed Murphy,
our new girls golf coach next fall. And Coach Cutter is going to stay on as his assistant.
I love that.
To kind of guide him and coach him up. So
good job. I love Reed. He's awesome.
And I was talking with Reed about his golf game. I said, so what kind of stick are you? And he said his handicap is 0.15. So I think he's pretty good.
That was my GPA at one point, but that's another story.
I do have to give a shout out to Coach Cutter. Yeah, he is an important person in my life. He was a teacher at West Ottawa when I was there. He also knew my dad when, they were here together, and just a guy when I was a new teacher here. He was in the South Building, second floor with me, and just a real kind of like my school dad. And so he's an important dude. He's
got a wonderful personality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Really he does. And he's a good mentor and a good person. And he still comes and visits me when he's in the building for girls golf. I'll just see him like outside my door. He'll just come and say hi. And I love that.
Yeah. That's so nice. Well, you were a little kid yourself at one point.
I was.
You were one of the kids that played sports and grew up here in West Ottawa playing sports. What sports did you like in middle school?
I know. So in middle school, I was one of those kids that did everything. I played basketball, volleyball, ran track, did all the things that you could in middle school. Like I said, I feel like I'm every kid. Like I was a mediocre athlete in the best of ways. Not everybody is going to go to college and play D1 or D anything, right? Most of our students are involved in athletics because it's really good for them and they want to be part of the community and they want to have a lot of fun. And that was me, right? So in middle school, I tried everything. Yeah. And then high school, I played basketball for a couple of years. I ran track. There were kids that were behind me. There were kids that were in front of me. I was smack dab in the middle. I ran the 2 worst races that you can. I ran the 400 and the 300 hurdles. So,
that is tough.
Let's just run as far as we can, as fast as we can, and jump over stuff too. And then my most fun as an athlete myself was I fell on a hurdle. I hurt my knee. My doctor, that was not the fun part. My doctor asked me, he wanted me to do a water sport to strengthen my knee. And so I tried water polo my senior year. I had so much fun. It brought out some type of aggression that I never knew I had. And if I had I known how much fun it was, I would have played.
You were ferocious underwater, huh?
Yeah, I loved it. I'm not a great swimmer, so there was that. I was definitely the slowest, but I played whole because I could tread water like nobody's business. Once I got there, I just got to stay and then, try to drown girls. That was so much fun. That was my whole job. I loved it.
Water polo is one of those sports that even after a number of years watching it, when the whistle blows, I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, it's really hard. And it's hard to know like what got called and why. It's a little bit easier when you're in the pool to know what's going on. But it also is a lot of flailing and survival.
Was Jack Carlson the track coach when you were running?
Coachy, he sure was.
Coachy,
I still call him Coachy. He was, yeah, yep. I very first practice freshman year, I wasn't conditioned. It was freshman year, and I came up to him and I was like, "Coach, I think I'm going to be sick." And he kind of like looked around. He was like, "Right there," like pointing to a spot. Like, if you're going to get sick, go ahead and do it there. He called my bluff. I did not get sick.
Jack, man, Jack is really, he is my father at West Ottawa.
Really?
He's the same age as my dad. He has a lot of the same mannerisms, talking points, phrasing that he'll use.
No way.
And so it's been a lot of fun to get to know Jack over the years. And I love when he comes into my office.
He is such a great guy.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What did for you as a young person? What did being involved in athletics do for you as you look back in a long-term view?
Long-term view. That's interesting. I like trying new things and challenging myself, and that's what it did for me. Especially that 1 year in doing water polo. I didn't know any of the rules. I didn't know what to expect. I just showed up and I was terrified the first practice. But it taught me long-term how to believe in myself, how to be determined, how to be competitive, how to try new things and know that what's the worst thing that's going to happen. I'm going to fail and I'm going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that when you try new things, you mostly don't fail. Mostly, if you stick to it, you can be successful.
Mm-hmm. We talk a lot in the athletic world. We talk a lot about failure. And right now, that is one of those things that I think our kids in general struggle with the most is failing and being able to get up off the mat and just go right back at it and use fail as a learning tool rather than,
I'm out.
Failure is a life skill. If we talk about being a college career and life ready, failure is a life skill. You are not going to go through the entire, when I'm 99 years old and I'm looking back on the rest of my life that has hopefully been this awesome journey, like just
no Alzheimer's in your family if you're hitting 99 and looking back.
Yeah.
A positive approach.
Yeah, exactly. My grandpa used to say he was going to live forever. I was like, so maybe not, but 99 for sure.
I like it.
And what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about failure. And I want to look back and feel like, man, I have some stories, some cool stories. And you don't get those unless you put yourself out there, unless you try new things and you're not afraid to fail. And when you do, you learn lessons every single time. And so kids, try new stuff. Don't be afraid to fail. Like, you're going to do it. You are going to fail many times in your life, and that's okay.
Yeah, you see a lot of, I'll put it this way. You see a lot of people who are successful and who are at the top of their profession, which I'll put you at, okay? So from an outsider looking in, you're like, oh man, they must have killed it their whole life, right? They're always confident. They're always achieving. They're just getting everything they want. It's never that road when you sit down and talk with somebody. You know, you got your failures, you got your challenges. You probably had times where you're like, well, should I do this or shouldn't I, right? Little self-doubt creeps in, but you keep moving forward and you do it and you take the step forward. And that's really the story of a lot of people who are successful.
Well, 100%. Kristy, you mentioned earlier middle school and trying all the stuff. Like our middle school athletic program is it's built for that reason, right? There's 4 seasons instead of 3. So kids can try all of these different things and kind of find what it is that really is going to drive them. And failure is a big part of that at the middle school level, right? You've never played basketball before, but I made a basketball team and I'm not very good, but I'm just going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Or maybe I'm not very good and I find where I could be better and I'm going to, try to make a goal and work towards getting better, right?
Yep.
Like you find your way and through that failure, and every single failure single mistake that kids make has a silver lining. Mm-hmm.
For sure.
You graduated West Ottawa in 1998.
Whew. Don't do the math, but yes.
That's another century. Sorry, Kristy Jernigan. I'm the oldest in the room, so, you guys can just make fun of me if you're feeling bad about your age. You graduated in 1998. You went off to Michigan State,
Go
right?
game.
So you were there. Yeah, you were there for 4 years, and then you did some, other things. Were you involved in sports there? Did you like being a fan? What kind of stuff did you do sports-wise, athletically wise when you were on campus?
Yeah, I'm a huge Spartan. I love sports. I loved going to the basketball games, football games, just being part of the student life there. Yeah, and I think if we lived closer to Lansing, I would be a season ticket holder. I just love going to sports and being in that energetic environment.
Yeah, state's a special place. So as a transplant to the state of Michigan, when I first moved to Michigan, I lived in Lansing. So like you just kind of ingrain yourself to, it's Spartan Saturday or the basketball team. And then obviously Cammie's a Michigan State grad as well. So I consider myself a Spartan by marriage. There's one team I will not cheer for Sparty against though, and that's the Terps.
That's right, Maryland.
I do know that. Yep.
Yeah, every time Maryland's on, I'm like, I know what Bill's doing right now.
That's right. Dialed in.
Yeah.
He's dialed in. You've always been a fan of high school sports. I know one of your favorite places to be, she has a very big smile on her face right now, is on the sidelines on Friday nights at West Ottawa Stadium. What does a game night look like for you? Maybe a game day, all that?
Yeah. So first of all, I do have to say, I think it is so much fun to be on the sidelines of football. I never had that opportunity until I was a head principal. I love it. It's so much fun. So
Doesn't Pat Collins call you the GM when you're out there?
He does. It's his nickname. I don't know how many people know it, but he calls me the GM. Yes, just because I love the sound. I love the energy. I love just being close and watching things happen up close. It's really, really fun. And I think probably I missed my calling. I don't know. No. But yeah, game days for me, I mean, Fridays at West Ottawa High School are always special anyway. We do our Pride Fridays and we, give shout outs to the kids who have really shown their teachers all their attributes of pride. And that's super fun because I don't know if you know, Rodney, but we go around, I announce their names on the announcements on Friday morning. We go around and we give them coupons and gift cards and things like that. And we make a ruckus and it's really, really
That's
fun.
really cool.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Then we go into classrooms and just scream their name and we're like, Happy Pride Friday. It's awesome.
Nice.
And so that's always a fun way to start Fridays. And then we gear up after school. We get ready to help the, black hole get where they need to be and be positive force for our football team. And yeah, I love the whole thing of it. I love the band. I love the cheerleaders. Love what Mindy has been doing with our program. It's awesome. She's doing so many good things. And so yeah, I love the whole environment of Fridays under the lights.
You just got to something I wanted to go into more detail on. When you were there on a Friday night, it's not just the football players, right?
Nope.
And I was making this list up and I was like, okay, another one. I'm like, who else? So you have football players, you have the band, you have drumline, which is probably part of band, but I'm not here every day, so no.
It is, yes.
All right. You have the black hole.
Yep.
You have competitive cheer there. You have dance teams. You have WOBN students up in the booth running music and scoreboard graphics and hitting the lights that stay on for 3 minutes. You also have videos. That's a shout out to our man, Quinn Vanderkamp. You have videos made by WOBN playing on the big screen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I guess for both of you can both speak to this as AD and principal. What do you feel about our school, our community, and our students when you take a moment to really think about what makes up a Friday night? Maybe, Bill, you can start, and then we'll go Kristy.
Friday nights for me are always special. I was a football guy. I am a football guy. I'll always be a football guy. There's no place I'd rather be on a Friday night than in a high school stadium, whether it's at West Ottawa or when we're on the road. I don't miss Friday night football games. It's what I think are the 9 best guaranteed nights of my year. And it's because of those other things, though, right? It's the fact that it's the one sport that brings together the marching band, the cheer program, the WOBN kids upstairs, the student body that turns out, the community that turns out. Since we've opened West Ottawa Stadium, I really can't think of a night where I've looked up in the stands and thought, man, we don't have very many people here tonight. It's always there. The people just show up. So that for me is what I love about Fridays. It's the unifier of the community, and it's a Friday, right? Everybody's excited for the weekend, and that's the way they have chosen to come and spend it with us.
How about you, Kristy? Just all the students that are there participating and making an impact in our community.
Bill said it. He hit the nail on the head. It's about bringing our community together. And I would say not just football too, but like all of our sports. I love going to as many as I can and seeing our community members coming out and supporting our kids. We talk about how we are the heart of the community, and you can see that when we offer those opportunities for our families to come and engage in the school. And there's nothing better just seeing people come out and support our kids and really feeling like we are the heart of the community. I actually can't talk about it too much because I start to choke up a little bit. Like it is.
We're not going to stop.
I'm a lifer. Like I really am. I bleed black and white. And I'm a Panther for life. And because of those kinds of things, because of our community.
So one of my fondest memories that I've got to share with Kristy is the night of the first ever football game at West Ottawa Stadium. And we were coming from a very old spot, that didn't have a lot of bells and whistles. And now all of a sudden we're in a place where it has a bunch of bells and whistles. And I remember walking up to her at the end and I looked at her and I said, this is the new normal. Like we get to do this again next week.
Sure. Yeah.
It's really transformed what we're able to do. And I think further shows, like, especially with WOBN and kind of their involvement in this year, that we're just starting to scratch the surface of what facilities like West Ottawa Stadium can provide, which kind of segues me right into the next thing that I wanted
Bill
to
loves
ask you
segues,
about.
by the way.
I'm a big segue guy. I should get one to go up and down Main Street.
That would be the 29 one on the road.
It would.
Mobile on Segways.
Yeah.
I would be lying if I said people haven't asked me if they can get them.
So since you have taken over as the principal, you've seen the opening of West Ottawa Stadium. We just opened the Performing Arts Center.
Gorgeous. It is.
And now we just broke ground on the Aquatic and Community Center. Could you talk to us a little bit about what it's been like to kind of see that, especially as a lifelong Panther, right? You're seeing these facilities that you grew up in change completely.
I know. It's overwhelming. It's exciting. I mean, like, how lucky are our kids to have these spaces, and how incredible, again, is our community that they want to provide those spaces for our kids. Our PAC is unreal.
Gorgeous.
And when they had the really cool red carpet event for the musical recently, it was, people were dressed to the nines. It was so fun. And I just feel so lucky. And going back to feeling indebted to the community, I want to do things so right for our kids. And I want to have all of these awesome facilities because our kids deserve it. They'll go to other buildings and they feel like these are normal. Mm-hmm. They think that our stadium and our PAC are like, what? Like, this is just the thing, right? And you go to other schools, and we have, like, all of the schools around us have beautiful facilities. They really do. But when you leave our campus and you go to other ones, sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't realize that this wasn't normal. And so for me, I feel so lucky to get to be the one to open some of these things. But also, I want to make sure I don't mess it up, right? And so there's a little bit of weight to
You guys
it.
got some weight on you there with all
little
these
bit.
facilities?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember the pressure that I felt for that first home football game was immense, right? Because now we've got this shiny new toy.
Don't mess it up.
And we've got to make sure that we're showing it off.
Right. And you cannot do it well.
Mm-hmm.
You can certainly underperform a place.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't.
Nope.
I don't think so. I talked with our stat and sports class first hour. I've got another appointment here, 6th hour. And I told them that I would put our production on a Friday night up against anybody. I don't think there's a high school out there that can match us on a Friday night.
I like the ability for students to feel this incredible in-game experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've always pushed a little bit, giving kids that experience at least we'll talk football specifically, but giving them that experience as freshmen and as sophomores and as seniors, juniors as well, but the 3 levels. It's because some kid, that's their only time. Their only time on football is that freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's make them feel like they're at, they're on the big level,
Yeah.
So, because then everybody gets that chance to go to varsity, that sort of thing. You had mentioned this too, Kristy, but we have all these 29 varsity sports. What other sports do you like to get around to and try and watch?
When I became the new principal, Jason Reineke gave me really good advice. And he said, every sport, every level. So I try to make it, and I try to make it to every sport, every level. I am a member of the community, so I have a lot of friends, family friends here who their kids play sports. And so I love going to, everything. And I try to be involved in everything and watch every kid play every sport. And my friends' kids play sports. And so I love going to the track meets, especially because I ran. Girls basketball, they are my favorite team. You're not supposed to have favorites. I apologize.
That's okay. You know what? Everyone always says you're not supposed to have favorites. Yeah. Can we just cut it? It's very likely you have a favorite kid. It's very likely you have a favorite whatever.
It's a very educator thing to do.
It is. I think cross country is super fun. We've got a really, really cool course that the kids run. I think it's fun to go to that. I make it to the competitive cheer competition every year. That's so much fun to watch the energy. If you haven't been to a cheer competition, it's wild. It's so much fun, and you can't match that energy in many places. So, swimming and try to get to as much as I can.
And you can turn those into date nights, right? Isn't that the story?
Yeah. Mr. Jernigan, if he wants to hang out with me, and unfortunately he is just as much of a sports fan as me, but we often go together and Bill will make fun of us and be like, date night? Sure is.
And I do the very same thing. I think, Rodney, the first time you met my wife, Cammie, it was a date night at East Kentwood High School.
At AK.
And you were like, oh, you really do exist.
That's pretty much it.
He thought Cammie was my imaginary friend.
Yeah, I did for a long time. Yeah, Cammie this, Cammie that. I'm like, Cammie not around it anywhere. I can see. But you keep saying what you're saying. But anyways, got the chance to meet Cammie in person. She's fantastic. She's great.
Yeah, she was at hockey with me the other night. So, it's one of those things that as an administrator and you're overseeing these programs and you want to be there and support kids, lucky to have spouses that are willing to do that with us.
Yeah, I always say that education in general is a lifestyle, not a job. And so I am very blessed, going back to the girls and having Ryan, who is a sports fan. I'm blessed to have a family that is in it with me at the same time, doing the same things. Otherwise, I'm not sure that I would be able to pull it off, if I'm being honest. So it is about just blending the awesome programs you want to support and doing your life.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of things around here that are very tangible with students, especially student athletes. How does the school support student athletes who may be facing challenges with their studies and being eligible for games? How do you guys work together on that?
So I think one of the big things is we do have supports. Our seminar hour was born out of that, right? Mm-hmm. That is an hour twice a week that kids can check in, check out with different teachers that maybe they're having struggles with. There's also WOW access after school, a couple days a week that's available for kids, especially those who, I don't know, maybe you have a game at 5:30, so you've got a little bit of extra time hanging out after school. maybe you should swing in there and dial in the studies a little bit, because as we always say, we're student athletes, and in that order.
That's true. We do say that.
Athlete.
Yeah, and I would say for me, there's no difference. For me, it's just supporting all kids in their academics, athletes or otherwise. And we have more supports here than you can. Our podcast would be too long. But yeah, just the after school supports. We recently started something last year called Triple T, targeted tutoring time. And it's for students who potentially need to owe some time to the school and themselves. If you owe the school some time after school, why are you not getting some academic help, right? So we have WOA access on Mondays and Wednesdays. We've got targeted tutoring time on Thursdays. We've got seminar as a built-in intervention. We have 2 full-time interventionists. Like I said, this is going to be long, but I'll keep it short.
It's okay.
We've got a math interventionist, an ELA interventionist. Their entire job is to catch kids primarily in 9th grade and make sure that they can pass Algebra 1 and English 1. I've got 2 instructional coaches that can help our teachers, especially our new teachers, in their classrooms. And we just have all of these incredible supports. We have 8 EL teachers. Our kids, from an academic perspective, have more supports than any of the other schools around us. And I'm really, really proud of that. And we continue as a district to push ourselves to get even more supports. And not only that, WinWo and Panther Fund are there, not academically, obviously, but to be able to support students with needs, either extracurricularly or through Panther Fund, or academically through Panther Fund, or basic needs through WinWo. So we've got a lot going on. And I wanted to mention this earlier. I can't remember what we were talking about, but it was something, like how putting the big events on. I feel like my job is making sure that I've got the right people in the right places to make all of those things happen, to make all of the moving parts that we can provide for our students and do provide for our students. I've got the right people in those places that they can take their thing and run with it.
Yeah, and that's the whole nature of community, getting people to come out and be part of everything. Do you have any examples, because you've been teaching for a long time, assistant principal, elementary school principal? Do you have any tangible examples of maybe, you don't have to say their name, but a student that maybe has gone through some of that and come out clean on the other side? Shawshank reference there. So yeah, and I don't want to get too nerdy. Oh, be nerdy.
Okay. All right. So I was a math teacher, friends. It's in my nature. There's brain research surrounding kids being involved in extracurricular activities at school. Sports being a big one of those, right? But we've got 54 clubs kids can get involved in.
Wow.
Yeah. And so there's brain research around kids successfully thriving in school when they're involved in extracurricular activities. Actually, sometimes when we have students who make some poor choices and we need to create a plan with them of how are we going to do better in the future, a lot of times I'll say, you know what, and you need to join a club or a sport or whatever, because it really is better for them. And so I have many kids that I can think of where being a part of a team has really been the saving grace for them academically and getting them across the stage to graduation. Because that's really what it is we want not only for our kids to graduate and be successful and get a high school diploma, we want them to be successful after high school too. We want them to be able to stay in our community and be positive members of our community, right? So I can think of one particular student. I don't want to use his name. He's graduating this year. When he came in as a freshman, I would have met him in March, because that's when I came and became the principal. And he had really big behaviors, some trauma. He was failing all his classes, not great attendance. And through the work of our assistant principals, his counselor, some of his coaches that kind of had to pull him along to keep him academically eligible, or to keep him coming to practice, or to get him to practice, or get him home from practice, or whatever, he's going to make it. And that is such a cool success story. And how I said earlier, how it's playing the long game. That's what sports can do for kids is play the long game and get them to the finish line where they can be really awesome humans at the end.
So I love that she talked about the correlation between participation in extracurriculars and success, because that was my master's thesis.
There you go. How'd I do?
It's
Nailed it.
the research is all there.
My question is, how did you do on your thesis? Did you miss that?
I had an excellent score on the master's thesis.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure
I can write a paper with the best of them.
I just want everyone to know we do what's called a storyboard for these podcasts. And Kristy Jernigan has jumped the storyboard at every time because she knows what to talk about next. It is, I've never seen it where we want to hit something next and you are on it. It's happened 4, 5, 6 times already.
Oh,
so
you.
Kudos to you for.
She's a pro podcast interview.
Yeah, well, there's going to be where someone's going on vacation or
Put me
Bill
in.
Kennedy have that sore throat. But Bill Kennedy loves his sore throat, let's be honest. Get that gravelly.
It makes the voice better.
Yeah, great Scott. Well, seasons are about to start or have started. Bill, can you walk us through what sports are going on right now?
Yeah, so we're 3 hockey games into the season already. Hockey is always the first one that gets rolling in the wintertime. So we're back at home Friday and Saturday of this upcoming week. Boys basketball gets started next week. Girls basketball the week following. Competitive cheer, wrestling very shortly will get rolling with their competitions. They have more of a ramp up into their season. And then we still have a fall sport that is competing right now, which is hard to believe because the state swim meet is this upcoming weekend. And then our aquatics director, assistant athletic director, swim coach, Steve Boyer, he gets the one day off in between seasons. He finishes the state meet for the girls on Saturday and he has his Sunday. And then he starts boys on Monday morning.
That is
so
wild.
He has the shortest turnaround of any coach I know, but he's a grinder because swimmers grind.
They certainly do. This has been really nice to sit down with you, Kristy Jernigan. It's nice to spend time and meet you. If you are listening to this podcast, we want to thank you for doing that and taking the time. Say hi to Bill. Say hi to Kristy. They're here. They're part of the community with us. We are West Ottawa. We are community. We are each other. Thanks for coming on, Kristy. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And as always, go Whoa.
If you have enjoyed listening to the 29-1 podcast, be sure to like and subscribe. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.